Welcome back to Shemsuniverse. So today, guys, we're going to discuss Uranus in all 12 of the houses. So this is also known as Rahu in the Eastern ideologies. So this really is, it represents constant change. Wherever we have this planet within the 12 houses, is really going to bring about a very deep sense of a necessity of freedom in that area, and also a place where we kind of shake things up a bit and change perspectives compared to most people. This is kind of the black sheep sort of side of us. Wherever it falls, it's going to be viewed as eccentric. It's going to be viewed as something that makes you a bit more different. This is really where your authenticity lies as a person. So if you have it in the first house, what this would mean is that your self-image, who you are as a person, how you project yourself, will be very bold. You'll be very outspoken. You'll be somebody who everybody knows what your opinion is for sure. The only drawback with that would be the idea that your opinion is what matters most. This can sometimes come across as domineering or authoritative to other people, and it could offend certain types of characters. So just watch out for that. But it does really make you shake things up when it comes to your self-image, even the way you dress. Everything will be a little bit slightly different or quirky in that sort of sense, and people will understand that and know that you're a refreshing individual to any given environment. Moving on to the second. If you have Uranus in the second house, what this would mean is that you're somebody who looks at money and possessions as a means to an end. You more so look at it as a sense of, yeah, I can have it, or if I don't have it, it's whatever. You just kind of get things when it comes to the worldly pleasures as things that are like a necessity. So it's more about survival to you than it really is about getting these things. And having that detached manner, a lot of people with Uranus in the second house end up getting rich, because they're so detached from money and all the things that are equivalent to money that they are more calculated than most people because their emotions aren't involved. So that's the advantage that you have, is if you're naturally detached from money and possessions, you can probably get a lot of it because you just don't really care. And because of that, that will lead you to greater success in the future. Moving on to the third, in group dynamics, when Uranus falls here, it means that you're somebody who kind of can upbeat people's mood. You have a different viewpoint and perspective on things that a lot of people don't necessarily have. And when you have that, you're able to essentially show people how to view things from different perspectives, and you just have a more of a refreshing, authentic persona that can really ease people, especially when they're in stress, and you're the type of person that people want to talk to when they need that real level-headed advice. So just the only thing to watch out for here is just being a little bit erratic in the sense of having multiple opinions on things and just saying one thing to one person and saying another thing to another person about the same topic. So just make sure that you guys still have an ideology, still stick with things, and don't just change within new groups and new environments. The fourth house is a bit different as well. So we have the fourth now, which is about family dynamics. When you have Uranus there, it means you want to stifle change in regards to your personal environment. You may be somebody who wants to look at your environment for what it is and say, I want to change it drastically, or you're just going to be the person that really is different. Your whole ideology of like family may be slightly different than most people. You'll probably have a view on it that it's something that you can have, but you don't really necessarily care for the whole family dynamic in the sense of mother, father, children. Whether you're a man or a woman, you may not necessarily need family to feel that sort of closure with life or that completion, and that choice is completely up to you in regards to what you want to do. I would say go with whatever your perspective is and whatever's actually going to make you content with life. Don't follow traditional norms, even if everybody else is trying to force you to do that. Next one would be Uranus in the fifth. This makes you very creative, playful, risk taker for sure. This is something where your perspective can lead you to taking on a very different sort of career, especially within the performing arts, and you kind of bring an odd twist to it. People that have Uranus there are going to be people that if they get into social media or any sort of performing arts whatsoever, they're going to be a person that's going to be remembered for a very long period of time, going on from generation to generation, because they're going to bring something original that hasn't been copied from anybody else. It's going to be something new and something that's very noticeable. So when you have that there, look very deep for your artistic expression and how you want to present it in the most authentic way that you can. Always remain being competent, but be playful. Like, understand that you have that room to really show who you are, and it can definitely get you famous. It's definitely a highlight there. For the sixth house, this is really about like people that are into science, engineering, technology. When you have it in the sixth and it comes to like work and your health, you just want to make sure you have a good workout routine. You're not switching up on routines too much. When it comes to work, you guys can definitely do things because science is always researching new things. looking at different technological things like working for Google, working for Apple, engineering. All of those things mean you're doing something kind of new each day, and that gives you the opportunity to innovate. Entrepreneurship is definitely in your ballpark as well, but you just want to make sure that you're sticking with something and you're mastering it and not just being kind of flighty and moving from one thing to the next. Moving on to the seventh house. When you have Uranus in the seventh house, it means that you are meant for relationships, but it might not be in the sort of, I would say, the natural way that we view relationships, like what's on TV. And it's similar to what we say in the fourth, because in the fourth, we were talking about family dynamics and how mother, father, children, blah, blah, blah. With the seventh, we have people that have one-on-one relationships, but maybe they want to live apart. Maybe they want to be together, but not live in the same roof or whatever, what have you. It could be anything authentic like that. And what you need to do is find somebody who's very like-minded and able to do that without any resentment. Once you're able to find that sort of perspective around you and you can get that done with no resentment and there's equal respect between the two parties, everything else will work out wonderfully. Moving on to the eighth. The eighth means when you have Uranus here, it's interesting because it makes you a very self-transformative person, and it makes you want to really always change something about yourself or about your life. You're the type of person to try new habits, new routines, new workout regimens. All those things will fall under, but what you want to do, like I say with all the other ones, is have that freedom to explore and to experiment, but ensure that you are sticking with things for your experiments to see how the results are actually going to work. Meaning, don't try a workout regimen for a month and say, I didn't get the 8-pack that I wanted, and just stop. You need to do it for a year, 2 years, at least 6 months, and then go on from there. So it's really about applying your mind to different methods, but actually utilizing those methods to see where they take you. Next one would be the Uranus in the ninth. The ninth house is interesting just because it's about religion, abstract ideas, spirituality, the meaning of life. It's a deep house. And with that high vibration, when you have Uranus there, it really brings out the presence of looking at things like religion and those sort of ideologies, and then not really denying them, but looking at them from a sense of, is this true, is this false, and picking it more apart. These are the types of people that will go into religion and become martyrs for a religion or become spokespeople, because they're actually able to look deeper into the spiritual meaning behind things and really understand different significances to the stories. So when you have that there, make sure you are researching, make sure you are taking in different ideologies, different cultures, travel, see what the world's really about. But make sure that you are giving everything a chance, and that if you do, you set up a good belief system for yourself, set up a good foundation. If that takes going around the world to find it, but find grounding there, because if you don't, you're going to be going from one belief system to the next your whole life and never have that solid contentment within yourself. Moving on to the 10th, Uranus is very interesting here just because the 10th house, as we know, is our midheaven. It has everything to do with like career, occupation, social status, the hierarchy. And Uranus doesn't care anything about any of that stuff. So when you have that there, what it really means is that you're not really going to care about your social status unless you have a very strong sun sign or moon sign. You may not necessarily care too much about what Uranus is going to make you not really care about those types of things. Like, it's going to be very figurative to you. And you're going to look at it from a sense of, well, this is a means to an end. I have a job, I do my job, I go home. The disadvantage to that is that you're missing out on a lot of opportunity that you may have and a lot of the ideas that you probably can express within your job or career, occupation, whatever you choose to do. You have that opportunity to look at things from a different perspective and that natural detachment, but use it as a sense of freedom. And then you can provide value to a company, provide value for an entrepreneur, and you can get very, very rich, or you can be somebody who helps a lot of people. But if what I'm saying here to conclude the 10th house is if you don't find the hierarchy is important, you don't find having a lucrative job important, ask yourself what is important and then go after that. And that's how you're going to necessarily find your purpose. But if you cannot find what's important to you, you're going to lack grounding in all other aspects of life. And you're just going to be a wanderer and not going anywhere. If you have Uranus in the 11th, moving right on, this means it's similar to the third. It means you're good with group dynamics. It means that you're very adaptable. It means you're somebody who's versatile and authentic. And it just means that a lot of people may leave your life in and out, but that's just what's meant to happen. You're meant to learn from them and them from you. And you just need to keep the commute going, and your spiritual journey, it necessitates that change in order for you to broaden your horizons and broaden that perspective that you're going to develop, and your intuition and your spiritual self is going to evolve as your life goes on through the people that you meet. Once you're able to understand that, you kind of overcome the roadblock that the 11th house gives. Last one is our 12th. The 12th house just means that you're somebody who really cares about the underdog. It means that you're very spiritually aware, you're very intuitive. When Uranus is there, it means that you look at spirituality and you look at these things from a very, very different perspective. It's just like with the 9th, except more in depth because it's a higher vibration. The karmic lesson for you here is to be able to do good things for yourself before you do it to other people. Once you understand that you have to help yourself first and you can't just become a life coach without becoming a good business person yourself, then you've mastered it and you'll be good to go. But aside from that, guys, that should conclude all 12 of the houses. This was definitely an interesting planet just because it brings forth the topics of freedom and the necessity for change and looking at things from a whole different perspective or outside of the box. And once you understand where that falls in your natal chart, you see how it affects you in your day-to-day living, you can adapt to it, and you can actually provide grounding to it. Once you provide the grounding to Uranus in any of the houses, you're going to have an immense amount of power. So it's definitely something worth looking into and finding out the solution to how to utilize this energy in the proper sequence. But aside from that, guys, that should conclude the video. If you guys do have any questions on this whatsoever, just let me know in the comments. Aside from that, guys, please like, subscribe, holla me. So for today, guys, peace.